them all tidy be around me.
We'll get them real tight with you.
Okay, so what is this?
So
This?
this is your screw.
Here, can you take this one?
I will absolutely. All right, everybody get close. Come on, come on. We're all best friends. We're all best friends.
Yes.
Slide that way just a touch. And then screws, if you want to step right up here. Come on up, come on up. We'll get cozy.
Yes, for sure.
Oh, you're fine.
Yeah, there we go. All right.
Everyone ready? We'll do this, right? Good morning. We are going to start. First of all, I wanted to say thank you so much for joining us here today. We're going to discuss a topic that's very important to so many families in the state of California, and quite frankly, around the United States. I wanted to share a personal story and why this is so important to me. I have been a teacher for 20 years. I currently represent the 22nd Senate District as the state senator, and I've been a teacher for 20 years, which has given me the insight into how families function, what our children are going through. And one story that really stands out to me, and I've cried over this in my years of teaching, is a 8-year-old little girl. There was a little girl that was 8 years old that really had a really difficult time. I knew she was struggling with mental health issues because every day she would come to school and tell me that she was going to kill me, that she kept hearing voices in her head saying, "You have to kill Miss Rubio." And every day I try to comfort her, try to do the very best that I could as a teacher. I am not a mental health professional, but yet as a teacher, I was tasked with trying to comfort this little girl. Not to mention the fact that I had other students in my classroom that I needed to look out for. And every time she had a moment, I needed to detach from my class and try and see what I can do to calm her down. But I also remember her mother and how distressed she was. She had a little brother, and every night she would lock her in her room, not out of punishment, but because she was so afraid that she was going to harm her little brother. And it became routine. She would open the door in the morning and the room was destroyed. And they would put it back together, and then she would go back to school, where I had the pleasure of trying to comfort her once again. And so as a teacher, I can share with you that we are asked to do so much with so little resources. And it's understandable, but the one thing that I think people misunderstand is that mental health issues don't show up in younger children. They do. Later on, she was diagnosed with schizophrenia. And at the time, she was very small, and she wasn't at an age where she could be diagnosed. And so the reason I'm here, because I know how our families struggle when they have a child that has mental health issues, and they don't understand what it is. They know they're feeling something. They know that they're either distressed, sad, whatever it may be, and they don't know how to name it. They don't know those feelings. They don't know how to express it to an adult or someone that could help them. I had a great relationship with this little girl, so she felt confident to come to me every day. And it was really scary. It was scary when she would visualize what she was seeing in front of me, from dead bodies to blood running down her feet, to people, little voices in her head telling her that she needed to kill me. I need you to envision 8 years old in my classroom. It wasn't a special ed classroom, a regular classroom. So I did worry for all my other students. And so today we're here because I want to ensure that we help our students as young as kindergarten identify some of these feelings. And I've heard people say that children should not be talking about mental health, but we will teach age-appropriate mental health education. Just like we will not teach a child in kinder to write a 5-paragraph essay, we start with letters, we start with numbers, In the same way, we want to start introducing vocabulary. We want to start introducing what feelings are. What is sadness? What is happiness? What are emotions? As they go up in grades, we want to introduce vocabulary that's a little bit more complex. What is bullying? What are those feelings that you're having? What is anxiety? We have to understand what's happening around our world today. Not only do these children come out of a pandemic that had them isolated, they were not allowed to play and be kids, so they're still struggling with that post-traumatic stress. We hear the narrative around our nation about deportation, about families being separated, another added stressor. And the list goes on and on. And if we don't do something to identify those feelings and help our students early on, then we see the consequences as they get older. Most parents will say after their child has committed an atrocity, whether it's a shooting, as we've seen, like Uvalde in Texas, even Columbine and other school shootings, I didn't know my child was struggling with mental health issues. And that's because we don't train our students, our children, to talk to their parents about it. Why would they? They don't know what they're experiencing. And so this bill that we are going to introduce, SB 531, will ensure that all California students from first grade on receive age-appropriate mental health education as part of their health curriculum. We're not talking about teaching first graders to talk about suicide. We're going to start with what's appropriate. What we do want is to make sure that we minimize the anxiety that our students suffer as they are going through their educational years. It doesn't get better, it gets worse. I personally, as an educator in my district, started seeing a rise in attempted suicides. And it is really frustrating because we don't have the tools. And so my hope is that we do better. And the truth is that we need to understand it also as adults. And so hopefully our teachers become more aware and are able to help in a more systematic way. Because I didn't know what to do. As I mentioned, I did what I could, but I'm not sure I did what was required. So I do want our teachers to understand that I know it's a little bit more work. I know as a teacher we're tasked with so much, and that's what I'm hearing, that it's just one more thing for teachers to do. But as a teacher myself, I would welcome this. Our children are worth it. One life saved is worth the 15 minutes I'm going to invest in my classroom talking about mental health and how we can prevent it, how we can get help, and how they should be talking to their parents or caregivers or someone trusted so that they can get the help that they need. One question that kept coming up every time I talk about this bill is, are we doing enough to help students before they reach a breaking point? And that is why I am here today, because we are not. Let's not get to a point where our students are so distressed they don't see a way out. Either they're going to harm themselves or they're going to harm their classmates, or as we've seen, at a mall, at a concert. And so this bill is critically important, and it will save lives. I think our children are worth it, and every life matters. Now I'd like to welcome someone who has spent years fighting to make mental health care more accessible and compassionate, especially for our youth. Please help me welcome Jessica Cruz, CEO of NAMI California. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Senator, and thank you all for being here today. My name is Jessica Wilson Cruz. I am the CEO of NAMI California. We are the National Alliance on Mental Illness. We represent families and individuals across California who are impacted every day when it comes to mental illness. First and foremost, we want to thank the Senator really for continuing this fight. You can tell by her passion that this advocacy that she has to make sure that SB 531 gets passed is going to be, for all of us behind you. It's going to work, and we have been fighting this fight for decades. NAMI California started this fight in 2013 with U.S. Senator Padilla when we introduced SB 330, which incorporated for the first time mental health into the California Health Education Framework. But we didn't want to stop there. And so in 2021, with our friends at the California Alliance for Families and Children, we proudly co-sponsored SB 224 with Portantino, which built on that foundation by requiring schools to provide age-appropriate mental health instruction in middle schools and high schools with health classes. But Senator Rubio is not stopping, and she wants to take it further, and we are here for it. We are here to stand with her. We're here to be shoulder to shoulder to fight this fight. You know, half of all lifetime cases of mental illness begin at age 14. But up to 75% of youth with mental health issues receive no treatment. These numbers are clear, and the stories, like Senator Rubio told you, are heartbreaking. So we can't sit around and do nothing. So SB 531 really builds on our years of progress. It provides a sustainable, standardized approach to mental health education in California schools. It ensures that students not only learn about mental illness, but also about wellness, self-care, and how they can support their peers. We know that mental health education reduces stigma. It encourages help-seeking behaviors, and it creates a culture of empathy and resilience. I don't understand why teachers would not want to teach this. If our job is to ensure that our children are getting the best education possible, we have to make sure that their mental wellness is also taken care of. And SB 531, it's not just good policy, it's a lifeline for many people, for many students, for many teachers, and for many families. By passing this bill, we acknowledge that there is a crisis. We're responding with evidence-based, age-appropriate education, and we're reaffirming our commitment to every child's right to mental wellness. I'm so proud to be co-sponsoring this bill with NAMI California and all of our partners, and I am even more proud to introduce Dr. Mallorca.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much, Senator Rubio, for your activism and for sponsoring this very important bill. My name is Dr. Marcia Mallorca. I am a child and adolescent psychiatrist here in Sacramento. I'm also the current president of the Central California Regional Organization for Child Psychiatrists and a member of the California Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, or CAL-ACAP, which is one of the co-sponsors for SB 531. As a local community child psychiatrist, I work with children of all ages with mental health challenges, sometimes as young as 3 years old. Age-appropriate mental health care is essential. All of our children deserve the tools to understand what they're feeling and how to ask for help. According to the CDC, 8% of children ages 6 to 11 have an anxiety disorder. This jumps to over 15% for ages 12 to 17. Yet only about half of the children with mental health conditions receive any sort of mental health treatment. Teaching children of all ages the words to identify their feelings and emotions and helping them understand the importance of caring for their own mental health is incredibly important. When children know how to communicate their needs and struggles to the adults around them, it creates opportunities for early support and intervention that can help prevent more serious mental health challenges in the future. School is where kids spend more than a quarter of their day. It's a trusted space. By making mental health education part of the school day, we're ensuring an equal opportunity for every child across California to access this vital knowledge. And right now, that support is more urgent than ever. Our kids are growing up in a world shaped by the COVID pandemic, climate concerns, social media and bullying, and constant change across the country. We can't control all of that, but we can give them the tools to take care of their mental health. Our kids deserve to understand what they're feeling and know that it's okay to ask for help. And while I can share the data and what I see in my practice, the most powerful voices are the students themselves. So I'm honored to hand it over to a few of them, and first up will be Ella.
Hi everyone, my name is Ella, and I'm a junior in high school and a youth mental health advocate. When I was in 7th grade, I was diagnosed with anxiety. After spending a little over a year taking classes from my bedroom, I felt isolated from my friends and my community. Luckily, I was able to receive the support that I needed. I learned essential skills like mindfulness practices through a class at my school, which I still use today. It's so important that all youth in California receive comprehensive and age-appropriate mental health education before they're in a crisis. SB 531 ensures that all youth in California have a safe space to learn tools to navigate their mental health, which they will take with them throughout their life. I strongly encourage support for SB 531. It's time we prioritize youth mental health education across California. Every student deserves the chance to develop these essential skills before they're in a crisis. Thank you.
Before continuing, thank you, Senator Rubio, for giving me this opportunity to speak to everyone today. So my name is Utkar Sinha, and I'm a 9th grader at Irvington High School. I'm here to express my support for SB 531, and it's important to Californian students like me. Last school year, I lost both of my grandparents, and it was a challenging time for me and my family. It weighed heavily on me because as I went through this school year, my parents were in India, but I couldn't go because I have school. I knew I needed to receive their support, and because I was struggling mentally, but I didn't know what the first step could be. I was struggling mentally, and this caused my grades to fall behind, and paying attention in class became more difficult. The only time I was able to get help was in school, and it was only because an official saw me distressed, and I was taken to the office to get support from a counselor. But honestly, the meeting felt rushed, and it didn't help me at all. I went back to the office a few more times, but like before, these meetings were rushed and happened much later when I initially needed support. I wish I had been able to receive help earlier before my breaking point. Thankfully, I had friends and family who were able to be with me, but what about the students who don't have someone like that in their life like I did? How do they reach out for help when it's already so hard for students? Asking for help in school is increasingly difficult, especially in today's world where over half of the people who need mental health support don't receive it at all. This isn't just my story about how I felt after my grandparents passed away, but for all my friends who struggled with mental health issues after COVID-19 and didn't receive proper treatment until after. My previous school counselor recently told us with excitement that fewer and fewer people were asking him for mental health support. But what if this means that fewer people know how to ask for help? What if more people are wondering how do they reach out for help from their counselors? More people are struggling with their mental health, and fewer people are asking for help. So how do students get the proper care that they need? Ultimately, I needed support from school. If I were able to receive it sooner, I would have been able to feel mentally safer at school. I'm extremely lucky to have friends and families who've taken care of me through this difficult time as I grieved the loss of my grandparents, but I can't help to think, what about the people who don't have access to such a support network? For so many students, school is a lifeline where they should be able to seek support for situations like mine. But right now, they can't do that. Students spend most of their time in schools and also learn to develop behaviors like seeking needed support. SB 531 ensures that all students have access to mental health education, which will help normalize talking about mental health. If it helps young people feel safe and encourages them to seek mental health support when they're dealing with situations like mine. If SB 531 was in place before my grandparents passed away, I would have had the tools to better cope with the situation, ultimately helping me for the better. SB 531 aims to help every single student, and it would have helped me if enacted sooner. Thank you, Senator Rubio, for giving me this opportunity to speak on this bill. Thank you, everyone.
Alright. Good morning, everyone. My name is Santhosh Kumar, and I'm here today to speak on behalf of my cousin, who I'll call A. I want to share A's story because it shows why SB 531, the bill expanding access to mental health education in California schools, is so desperately needed, and how it could have changed my cousin's life if it had been in place earlier. In the fall of 2024, my cousin was a 16-year-old junior at a public high school in California. They live with their parents, who always told them education is your way out. don't waste it. A took that to heart and enrolled in 3 AP classes, aiming for a top college to make their parents proud. But by October, I started noticing changes in A. They were no longer the funny, goofy, kind cousin I once knew. They admitted to me that they were struggling to sleep, wrestling with racing thoughts, while feeling nerve-wracking chest pains, as if they couldn't breathe. A didn't know what was happening to them. They thought, maybe I'm just stressed, but everyone's stressed in high school, right? I thought so too at first, but I didn't realize how bad it was getting. In 2021, a law called SB 224 passed that said schools had to teach about mental health, but it only applied to schools with existing health classes. A didn't take a health course. They took an extra AP class instead. The school only had one counselor for over 3,000 students, and their stigma was real. A often heard kids say only weak people go to the counselor. They didn't want to be seen as someone who couldn't handle the pressure. By November, things got worse. After scoring their lowest on an AP Calc test, A wanted to tell someone how they couldn't focus, how they were feeling like they were failing at everything, but they didn't have the words. They didn't know what they were feeling. Anxiety was something real, something they could get help for. A called me, crying. I'm letting everyone down, they said. I didn't know what to say. I just listened, but I wish I'd known how to help. December finals were the breaking point. During their AP Bio final, A had a panic attack. Their vision blurred, their hands shook, and they couldn't breathe. They ran out of the classroom, leaving their test unfinished and hid in the bathroom. Their best friend found them there, sobbing, but A wouldn't talk, afraid of being judged. It wasn't until January 2025 that my aunt and uncle took A to a doctor at a local clinic. The waitlist for a therapist was 3 months, something I later learned is common in California, where 1 in 5 kids struggle with mental health issues, according to the California Healthcare Foundation. The doctor was able to diagnose A and provide treatment options, but the damage was done. A had to take a medical leave from school, missing their spring semester. They felt like they'd failed their parents. A told me later, if I'd known what anxiety was, maybe I could have stopped her from getting this bad. Imagine if all students, grades 1 through 12, were offered mental health education. If my cousin had had that education in 2024, their story could have been so different. They would have learned how to spot anxiety, the racing thoughts, the tight chest, the irritability, things A was already feeling. They'd have learned that seeing a counselor isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. That could have given them the courage to seek support. A might have learned how to manage their anxiety before it turned into a panic attack. They'd have stayed in school. But A's story isn't unique. 1 in 3 California teens face serious psychological distress. And without SB 531, these kids, like A, will continue to fall through the cracks. With SB 531, all students can have the tools to cope, to know what anxiety and other mental health challenges look like, and to know it's okay to ask for help. This law isn't just about teaching kids facts. It's about saving lives. It's about making sure no other teen has to hit rock bottom before they get help. I'm speaking for my cousin because they're still healing, but they wanted me to tell you this. This bill could have changed everything for them. Please make sure it changes everything for the kids who come after. Thank you.
First of all, as a teacher, I could not be more proud of these students who had the courage to come and tell their stories. And I want to just say that it's not an easy topic to discuss. One of the things that I heard him share, do you want to? Excuse the interruption. One of the things that I heard him share, which is really critically important, that someone said to this child or this young individual that was suffering from mental health issues, only weak people get help. And that's the problem. We don't talk about it. We don't normalize it. We make it seem like only one person gets it, and that is it. I want to share that it's also cultural. I do know that in Latino communities, you're taught not to speak about these issues. And so they actually encourage children to stay silent. I've heard it from a lot of Latino students. And as I talk to other students, they share it's also in their culture. And so this is not an isolated issue. It's an issue that really everyone suffers from. And I want to just also say thank you to NAMI, thank you to our students. What I hope is that as we're talking about this bill, as we're seeing it presented on camera, as we go through our committees, I hope that the students that are hearing us, that are listening to us right now, know that it's okay to talk about it. I think every time I pass bills, I'm always encouraged that I get a slew of emails. As I work a lot on domestic violence, I get hundreds of emails from victims of domestic violence telling me their story and thanking me for the bills that I pass, because it encourages them to come forward. In the same way, I hope that SB 531 really encourages our youth that are hiding behind closed doors, either crying or suffering from anxiety or whatever the issue may be, to know that it's okay. We're here to support you. We're here to make sure you're okay. And there's nothing wrong with you. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you. You're feeling something that other people feel, and it's okay to go to an adult and ask for help. So again, I want to thank all our students who have the courage to come and speak to us. I want to thank NAMI and all our collaborators. This is an issue that's not going to go away. Again, we've had the pandemic. We've had these wildfires that have really distressed the entire area of Los Angeles. People have been displaced. We have students that are struggling with displacement, not graduating, not going to class with their classmates. And again, the list goes on and on. The bullying that's happening on social media. And we really want to ensure that we give students the tools. So we want to thank you very much. And if anyone has any questions, we're happy to answer them. Thank you. Let's give everyone a big round of applause. Thank you. And let's remember that SB 531 saves lives. It will save lives. Thank you, and have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you.